Xal'atath travels to Classic to revive Cthulhu in retail. Craziest Blizzard move ever. I've been talking about this, man. I've been talking about this. Xal'atath is traveling between Season of Discovery as an alternate timeline and our current timeline. It's happening. Blizzard's making it happen, and I think it's one of the coolest plays they've had in a long time. Let's see what else Doran has discovered here.
Xal'atath had traveled back to WoW Classic in order to get the essence of Cthulhu and to bring it back to the War Within, and this might just be the craziest thing Blizzard had ever done. As I previously stated, with our return to Pandaria, she will have the essence of 3 old gods, and only Cthulhu was missing. Well, in Season of Discovery, people started getting these weird bugs where they get Cthulhu whisper buffs and old god Cthulhu minions are appearing as far as parents. Furthermore, Xal'atath herself appears and gives us a weapon to use, being kind-hearted and everything, and as you know, her old dagger was a weapon we used that would have captured N'Zoth's essence back at the end of BFA. So what is even going on, and is Blizzard really connecting Classic and Retail in this new lore?
They sure are.
If you're interested in programming, but you're facing the biggest problem out there, which is procrastination, you can never get yourself to actually get started, boot.dev is literally
boot.dev. All right, yeah, use it. Do it.
And our concept is that it is going to get you started working right now, and it is all done as an RPG game with
gotta let the man run his
levels, achievements, a leaderboard, and all the fun elements that come with it. You got a thriving and active Discord community that can help you a lot if you get stuck on your coding challenges. However, the best thing is, even if you're not into programming, boot.dev can get you into it because backend developers have excellent earning potential.
I don't know how to code worth a shit.
Also work from home. With boot.dev, you will learn backend web development from start to finish in Python and the Go programming languages. So click the link in the description, check out what boot.dev has to offer, and use my code Doran's Movies to get 25% off your first payment. That's 25% of the first month or the first year, depending on the subscription.
Doran's Movies, use the code.
Gaming and programming today.
There you go. Use the code.
So
yeah, look, connecting SOD timeline, classic timeline, and retail timeline to me is a win-win. First of all, you're going to get people to kind of be interested in both at the same time. Maybe they play both to figure out the lore. But it just makes the whole thing feel more real rather than it's a silly game where people who don't like one play the other. No, they're the same. They're just alternate timelines of each other.
This might just be the craziest thing Blizzard can ever do. Now, I know I say this pretty much every second video, but this is something that is entirely unprecedented, like a multiverse of
breaking a fourth wall.
One character traveling to a completely different version of the game to complete a plan for the next retail expansion. If it really is true, it seriously might be the most genius Blizzard thing they had ever done. So let me really quickly bring you up to speed on how cool this could actually be. Now, you all know, Season of Discovery opened not that long ago, and this is like a version of Classic that never happened before, a bit of an altered one. Think of it as the long-awaited Classic Plus, but like the baby version where they're testing the ground to see what can work in the future. However, something I had never actually expected to see was that a character from Retail would travel to this old modified version of the game so that she can get something and to bring it back to a new Retail expansion. Now, I know you may be wondering like what is even going on, so to explain it, in Season of Discovery, we can encounter this figure, which is like 99.99% Xal'atath, and it is just called in the game a shadowy figure. Now, this shadowy figure helps you with a quest line and creating weapons, empowered weapons that you can use. Now, you may say this is just a night elf. It could really be anything, just like a void night elf, but she's literally holding a dagger.
She's holding a dagger, and she's standing next to a massive crystal that shows up in the War Within in Hallowfall. It's a crystal that fell from the sky. She's freaking a shadowy figure. Yeah, she's a night elf, but that's because blood elf models don't exist in Classic. It's all for a reason.
Weird mix of a night elf. Remember, this is Classic.
The way she even talks and teases the character,
let alone void elf. So this is like an elf night elf model that has these obvious void characteristics. But when you combine it with the dagger, the eerie presence, and the tone she speaks in, we can definitely say this is Xal'atath. So, here's where it gets interesting. This void figure approached a Twilight cultist and compelled him to create the box. Apparently, she came to him, showed him the box, which made everything stronger, but the box is hungry. We're supposed to destroy the box, and when it is destroyed, it leaves a shard of the void, as it says, a perfect black crystal that seems to draw in the light. Then the figure herself appears and offers to show you how to use the void shard to create a void touch armband. Now, she tells you the crystal is something special that shouldn't be wasted, and sure, you can throw it away, but these things don't stand to stay lost forever. Now, if this is not Xal'atath, I don't know what is. I mean, remember the dagger, how it was lost for like thousands of years, and how we found it, it was in our hands, and then it was kinda lost again, and then she found it. However, she sort of entices us to take it, and then she leaves a mark on us. It says that not an entirely pleasant memory that is not our own is placed in our mind. Now, I know what you may be thinking right off the bat. This could be a super quick Easter egg that is like a cross promotion. I mean, who really cares? But guys, when you dig into it, it really seems like there is so
it's all
much
too
more.
connected.
Like
it's all too much of a coincidence that there's this shadowy figure that's putting memories and stuff into our heads, helping us create a weapon and all this stuff. Come on. It's her. Even the way she teases the player character, she talks about them being like a chosen one or somebody with great potential. It's the same way that Xal'atath used to talk to the Shadow Priests in BFA. I mean, not in BFA, sorry, in Legion. It's all very, very, it's got to be related.
Things happening other than this at the same time that a lot of people are missing. So, first of all, the Riots immediately refer to the data, the most legit information, and that is that we actually had Chris Metzen responding to a post about a topic highly related to this on the forums in regards to Season of Discovery. Remember, Chris Metzen is the lead guy that is now working on all of Warcraft, not just on the next 3 expansions, the World Soul Saga. Someone asked, like, what's up with Season of Discovery? Is this like an alternate timeline that is like Hearthstone, where it is based on Warcraft lore, but it's like its own thing, really? Well, the answer was not quite. Chris Metzen told us to think about it as found photographs, little bits of info about characters we're very familiar with that makes us see them in a new perspective and gives us more context, but it doesn't really shift the story in any major way. To think of it something, for example, as seeing our parents traveling in their youth, which makes us see them in a new light. Now, this is definitely a bit of a vague answer, but I do think it ties into this
intentionally vague.
And of course, it isn't a major shift in the story or a retcon, but this is something like a piece of the puzzle that plays into the main storyline.
You were right, Wajo. You just said
missing on retail. So here we have something that is incredibly interesting and may entirely be tied to this. So all throughout Season of Discovery, people started reporting these weird sightings. Like they started seeing mobs, Silitus, Kiraji, old god minion mobs just appearing randomly. For example, in the Parents, and people were also thinking they were getting a bug and they were getting afflicted with the whispers of Cthulhu that said, now you serve Cthulhu mortal. Initially, people thought this was a bug, but multiple people have recorded these sightings, and it wasn't even like a tiny mob bugging, so just like a Kiraji appearing all of a sudden, but it looked like they spawned right around the obelisks they use, the old god ones that you can find. Look,
Xal'atath is like collecting pieces of old gods or doing something with each of the old gods, remnants or something. The issue is in our timeline, some of those remnants have been destroyed. For example, you know, the Dark Heart, right? Garrosh destroyed Yog's heart. It's gone in our timeline. So if she needs something like that, say maybe in a patch, say maybe in a patch 10.2.7, right? How would she get the Dark Heart in our timeline? Well, it's gone. It's gone. But maybe some kind of return to Pandaria in an alternate timeline where the heart has yet to be destroyed. Yeah, professional streamer, I exited that shit. Yep. It's not, people are like, oh guys, it's time walking. It's not, no, if they wanted to call it time walking, they would have. It's not time walking. This is time running pandemonium because she is going back and forth between SOD and our current retail to get the Dark Heart, where it hasn't been destroyed yet, where Garrosh never got to Pandaria. We never went to Pandaria. It's all connected, boys.
It would be strange for all the bugs to be all related to Cthulhu. That is super relevant. And let me just tell you why Cthulhu is super relevant. Now, you may be thinking, I mean, Silitus, Kiraji, like, what does that have to do with Xal'atath? Well, in my opinion, it has all to do with Cthulhu, which is
working with the Infinite Dragonflight.
Let me put
it's
on
not far-fetched,
yeah. I know you may be thinking this is a bit crazy, but stay with me because it does make a lot of sense. So, if you can follow the past 2-3 videos I made, I can propose the theory that Xal'atath is collecting the essence of all the old gods for her plan. Now, I'm not going to bore you with a 15
Yeah, she's there getting
theory,
Cthulhu's
so
essence, but
really super quickly
I think
sum
she's
it
doing
up.
more than
We
just
were
that.
told in an interview that Xal'atath is working for the Void directly, is older than the old gods, and isn't working on building the Black Empire, but creating a new one, sort of on the remains of the old god Black Empire. The document for Dragonflight said that the Harbinger will complete the awakening. Now, this here is the evidence. It is very, very strongly hinted that she collected essence of 2 old gods and is about to get the 3rd one in 10.2.7. Remember the Xal'atath dagger from Legion? This was a giant, powerful, magical container she was trapped in and she ultimately escaped from. Well, long story short, it exchanged a whole bunch of hands, but ultimately Vrathian used it to stab N'Zoth, which essentially collected his essence inside it. As remember, this is a container, not just an enhanced weapon, and since then the dagger completely disappeared. No one knows where it has been since BFA. Remember what she just said in Classic? How something that was lost will always find a way, one way or the other. Then in Dragonflight, in 10.1.5, she can travel back in time to collect the essence of Galakron. As the exact same prophecy said, to save a hunger lost to the ages. Previously,
that's
the lore was
definitely
rewritten where it was stated that Yogg-Saron created Galakron and the hunger. For this, Xal'atath
Galakron was known as the never-ending hunger. That's why he's devouring all the other dragons.
Steal the original Dragon Soul, a predecessor to the one we know of, and once again, this was a powerful magical container. As we had seen, she used the Ridicon to collect the essence, he traveled to the portal, and we had seen her with the artifact in the official War Within cinematic, so it is 100% in her hands. Now, that is 2, but we have super strong evidence for 3 old gods. As I stated, we had 8 mined the entire Time Walking season in our big return to Pandaria in the patch 10.2.7, the patch that is very mysteriously called the Dark Heart. Remember, the scenario in Mists of Pandaria, it was literally called the Dark Heart of
Interesting.
Pandaria.
The release dates line up pretty good, don't they? Damn, the only problem is doesn't TWW come out before level 60 SOD? Level 60 Season of Discovery will come out the summer with endgame content releasing in the autumn. War Within scheduled for November. Ah, it does line up. Yeah, it does line up perfectly. Yeah, it does. So they could give us the story content for level 60 content with Xal'atath evolved at the end of Season of Discovery, leading us right into the expansion release in November. Oh, shit, for retail. That's perfect.
The Heart of Yasharaj. Now guys,
it's too
traveling
perfect.
back in time, Dark Heart, Harbinger, aka Xal'atath quests, I don't think I
Fake
really
news,
need to
all these
speculate
videos.
on this. I mean, remember the Naga
True
prophecy.
day.
The Dark Heart awaits the taking. If all of this is true, it means she has 3 of
The Dark Heart awaits the freaking taking. You want me to highlight it for you too? 10.2.7.
or known old gods. Now, we learned in the War Within that she's dealing with old god blood through the Nerubians in Kazlagar, which are mysteriously just off the shore of Manti territory in Pandaria. The exact same Manti that a book released 2 months ago told us that just returned to worshipping Yasharaj, the book that gave us present-day updates to Pandaria. Now, when I made this theory, I said she has everything apart from Khatun, but like, what is going on with Khatun? Like, it just kind of doesn't
The
fit
hell is
in.
that, a
Well,
robot
we
Khatun?
recently had new info on the Sword of Sagittars that told us more about Xal'atath, and we know the Void Whispers that the Twilight Cultist guy had apparently stopped in Legion.
Yeah.
Sagittars stabbed Siltus. Now, check this out. Traveling back in time in Season of Discovery, where Anchorage just opened, giving us a weapon, a void-empowered weapon to stab Khatun with a shot that is like a container. Does this have the exact same vibes like how she would have captured
Kind
the
of,
Zod
yeah.
back in BFA? Has
Makes sense.
she literally traveled back in time to give us a weapon, like very subtly, that we're going to use?
A weapon that we will use when we raid him to gather his essence. Much like we did in with the dagger, with N'Zoth.
To stab
Too
Khatun with,
perfect.
so that she can get his essence, and eventually it is going to end up in her hands in
It's
the
too
next expansion, The War Within. I know what you may be thinking. I mean, didn't Chris Metzen say this isn't an alternate universe? However, keep in mind, this perfectly fits exactly what he said. This is literally just a little bit of contest. I mean, this might have actually happened in our timeline, we just haven't paid attention. She's not coming in to stop his defeat, to be like this new villain, to change that come to
Oh
hate.
man, my bad.
to change the timeline, to alter anything or do anything. She just kind of slipped in a little weapon with a crystal container shard that we are going to use. We are going to do the exact same thing as before, just this time she's going to take a little sample of a old god. Keep in mind, the Twilight Hermit said Void Whispers stop when Sergera stabs Xal'atath, so obviously she has to get the essence before that. All of this sample thing seems like it has to be done when the old gods are actually active, not when they are dead, and you can
Yeah,
see
you
the
can't.
exact
That's
same
why our
pattern like the
timeline.
previous
That's why
video.
our timeline doesn't work for some of this stuff, because a lot of these guys are already dead.
Old gods. Now, of course, this is saying that the old god sample theory is true. However, when you think about it, I mean, it does make a whole lot of sense. I mean, it could turn out to just be a minor cross-promotion thing because, as we know, I mean, Blizzard does cross-promotions all the time. Like, we had the Rumble and the Hearthstone thing in WoW since forever to get players to start playing their new projects. So, why not promote Classic?
But I don't think this is just a cross-promotional make money thing. I think this is a lore-related thing. Like, this goes deeper.
In retail, especially.
Of course, they'll make money off of it too. However, this is quite a bit different. I mean, yeah, I know we have the timeline here does line up perfectly. You're right. Season of Discovery will give us the end game content. Level 60 stuff comes out late summer. Look at that, level 60, new runes, and then additional end game content in the autumn. November release for the expansion too. It lines up really well. It does.
Exact same game, it is the exact same lore, just a few years back in time. I think seeing that this is Xal'atath and she has traveled in time once already to get the essence of Yogg-Saron, I think there is a big story element here, and it is more than just a single name mention, especially
not in his fleshy form, but he's alive.
Is like the major character in the World Soul Saga. This might be yet another part of the prophecy that is going to manifest itself all throughout the next expansion. Thank you for watching.
That's
check
perfect,
out
man.
Lauren is still happening by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on the ancient Greek colonies in Spain by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a while. I definitely think it's the case that Xal'atath is connecting the two timelines. She's going back and forth to gather all the essences of the old gods that she needs to fulfill her plan and summon whatever it is that she's trying to summon. She is a harbinger after all. And what do? They bring about something. That's right.